Hello my scrappy friends, a big welcome to my channel today. So you are not going crazy, I promise. This is the second upload of this video, this time with a voiceover. I am certain I recorded a voiceover because I remember talking about this paper with the houses. I've got no idea what happened. So here we go for the second time. This is a share for SpiegelMom Scraps. I'm using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio These Days collection and these two photos that I've taken from my local area. I am fairly certain I'm never going to use a pattern paper with houses in a great rush, so I was just like, I'm just going to cut this one to about 7 inches and go with a half and half design. Of course, it being me, I had to go with the rainbow stripe at the bottom. So I am building my 12 by 12 layout here, trying to keep things straight while touching them. It's just like, who am I? Who do I think I am? But I get there in the end, and then I trim it down, and perfecto. So I've got these two photos that I've taken in my local area. I picked out these 4 pattern papers. Now, the paper stacks in the Cocoa Vanilla Studio collections are A5 in size, which is it's a little bit narrower than 6 inches, I think, and a little bit longer than 8, if I remember correctly. So you can see I am keeping those as best as together as like one piece without chopping them down as I can, and I'm just layering those behind my photos. I decide to add some tissue paper behind my 2 photos just for a little bit of separation between my photos and the pattern papers, and then I'm going to pop those up on foam. I don't remember exactly what I've chopped out of this, so you have to bear with me because this is now like one whole saved video instead of the sections that I know where I'm going. And like I said, I'm sure I recorded the voiceover for this, so I don't really know what happened. I'm just trimming this down, and I've just folded that in half because it means less cuts. I'm going to add I add the date to the back of my background because that way I can easily remember the date when I go to put it on here. Adding some foam, and I'm going to distress the edges of all of my papers, and then once I've done that, I'm going to realize or make the decision to trim down all of my papers just a wee little bit. You can see how I've got like the perfect border all the way around if I do that, and if I move it over a little bit, the paper layer lines up perfectly with the photo, and I'm like, I don't really want that to happen. So I end up going back through, trimming down all of these papers just a little bit, and then that's how I'm happy with them. So you can see I've got them all stacked up where I want them. They're all perfectly straight at the moment, but I am going to go in and just make them all a little bit skewy. I don't want them perfectly straight. I do want my photos straight. So I'm just getting those lined up where I like them so you can see a bit of each of the papers peeking through. Happy with that. I'm going to grab my stapler and just staple those on. I'm really happy with how that looks. I'm going to stick down my photos. Like I said, they're going to be straight. Adding some more foam. I hope true to my normal format, I cut most of this out. Yes. Pop that down on top. Sorry for my head. It's the only way I can make sure it's straight where I want it. And then I'm going to go in and lift up those corners like that. Like I said, this particular share is for SpiegelMom Scraps. I'm using Tabby Pop Dots here. These things are the best things ever. I love them. They are amazing, incredible. What they are little foam dots that are on a roll. You can see the roll there on the left. But they've got like a little extra tab on the side for you to peel the backing off. It's like magic. It just comes off. The sequin mix I'm using today is Rusted Fence, and it really pulls in the colours of my photos, and this mix works beautifully with this collection by Coco Miller Studio. I'm using the skinniest little, I think it's the 1/8 of an inch tear tape available in the store, and I'm going to go and do a border all the way around the edge of these two photos. The only thing so there's two things that I'm really aware of while I'm doing this. One is making sure that I do not put two of the exact same sequin next to each other. And then as I get further along, I kind of go, I want to make sure that I don't always have, say, an orange and then a brown next to each other. So I did try to keep it really random, but I love how that turned out. It's a fun feature. And like I said, I really love how it really seems to draw the colours in my photos out too. This mix has got some really cool, I think they're maple leaves as well. So I did want to get a couple of those onto the page. I'm going to use this as my title, Picture Perfect Moments. The change of seasons, especially this particular one, going from summer into autumn, is one of my favorites. There's just nature is full of magic. No matter which way you cut it, nature is full of magic. Babies and animals and flowers and trees that seem to die and come back to life, and it's just magic, and I love seeing it. And this like I said, this particular season always catches my breath. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, this is amazing. So I wanted to grab a couple of photos from my local area. I have added in two of those leaf sequins, one up to the top right, one to where my title is, and I'm going to add a third one in a minute. But I wanted to add a border along here, so I've grabbed the cut apart sheet from this collection, cut off that row of hearts, and you can see I'm just sticking that down. I'm going to trim that off and then use my T-square ruler to make sure it's straight across. And then I'm going to play with a couple of labels. I start with this one up the top, trim down one or two others, and then I end up pulling in some from the A5 paper stack, from the paper with the cut aparts on it, lifting things up, moving things around. I just couldn't decide. So here we are with the A5, trimming that down. Sorry for my head. It's a lovely view, isn't it? Sorry. So I did like that tucked right under there, but then I was like, I don't give myself a lot of writing room if I do that. So I do end up moving it. I think after I stuck it down, if I remember correctly, and then I'm like, that's not going to work. You've got nowhere to write. By the way, I've got sequins everywhere in my house now, like everywhere. It's crazy. They just pop up all over the place. So I went to stick this down with some foam tape and then realised I wanted to add my journaling. So added my journaling and then stuck it down. Oh, and guess what? So I was just conferring with Sarah, Sarah Scraps, if you don't know who I'm talking about. She looks after us design team members. And I received an amazing parcel from Jodie very recently. And I wasn't sure about some of the sequin mixes I've got, what release they're related to. I've got some of the December and January mixes here already. They're beautiful. Just saying. So yes, you'll want to make sure that you are subscribed to all the things so that you don't miss out on these sequins. They are stunning. Stunning. Cannot wait to play with them. Anyway, back to this one. So I am just getting the placement correct of where I want all my things, And here I go with the third leaf sequin, which is going to make it down into this bottom left hand cluster. I do move it around a bit, but I get there in the end. Then I add in a couple of these wooden buttons, I think. One up to the top here. I think that's a little orange love heart, and then this one's a little house. Again, a perfect opportunity to use up a little house. And then a couple of these sentiment strip stickers. I can't quite read that. Oh, look at that, close up on my head. You're so lucky. Sorry. That one, I think one of them says home sweet home. I can't tell. One says love this. Oh, that one down the bottom says love this place. And perfection. There you go. And then I decide to add in, I think just 2 little clusters of 3 sequins. There's a big like yellowy champagne-y coloured one that I use. Orange. And then a yellow one, and I use that down the bottom in that cluster and then up the top in the cluster there. And then these most adorable shiny sparkly beautiful little hearts, I added one of those to my title there, and some gold Heidi Swap colour shine. Here is the close-ups. So remember, my code for 15% off is Melinda15. I'll make sure I link everything in the description box below. I checked the shop early today. Rusted Fence is still in the store. So if you want some, head over and grab it. Like I said, make sure you sign up for all the things because the December and January sequins are stunning. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave them below. If you were wondering where my voiceover went, I too am wondering where my voiceover went. But if you are watching this for the second time, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you again in my next process video.